I know what the deal is. I know this is YouTube in 2024, and nobody has time for reviews or even movies anymore, so if I want to hold your attention, I gotta get to the point. So I'm gonna give you the most practically useful bit of criticism I can right off the bat. Are you ready? Stay for the end credits. This one's worth it. Welcome back to the first Reviewed in 5 in like 7 months. Where have I been? Who cares? We don't have time for that here. If you're new to the series, Reviewed in 5 is about 5 categories: writing, directing, acting, originality, and entertainment. Today we're gonna rate Deadpool and Wolverine, a movie in which Deadpool and Wolverine fight each other, and then team up. Why do they do it? Because they are fully aware and comfortable in the knowledge that you will pay money to see them do it. I mean, for God's sake, they literally admit that in the first scene. This dude is shooting Desert Eagles made of gold. You think the first Deadpool had the budget for that? By the way, if this synopsis feels deliberately vague to you, it's because to say literally anything else would be a spoiler. I try to keep these reviews spoiler-free, so I'm gonna navigate that as best I can. Let's get into it. So, the plot. It doesn't matter. If you haven't seen the movie, that statement may not make a whole lot of sense, but once you get into the theater and you start to see the vibe that they're actually going for here, you'll start to understand what I'm talking about. This movie is carried by lewd jokes and cameos, and if you saw my review of Dix the Musical, you'll know that I don't need the cameos to give a movie a 5 out of 5. This is a comedy, first and foremost, so its success really hinges on how funny it is. And I'll say it right now, like, a lot of the jokes are pretty low-hanging fruit, but a fair amount of them are actually pretty clever. Gubernatorial. If you know, you know. And I'm afraid that in the face of all the crassness and like fourth wall breaking, some of the cleverest moments are gonna fly under the radar. For example, there is one cameo in the first half of the movie that takes place in a desert-ish setting. I'm really trying to avoid spoilers here. That I thought was revealed very effectively. Obviously people are gonna talk about, you know, who it is, but I just want to give the writing of that moment its flowers because I just thought it was a very well-conceived scene. 4 out of 5. I enjoyed the writing. This movie is directed by Shawn Levy, very competently. I guess I've been so tapped out on film in general for the past couple months that I had like a real oh shit moment when the movie started. Like, wait, this is a Marvel movie. I am nowhere near caught up enough for this. I don't really see Shawn Levy bringing any sort of singular vision to the film. Like, if anybody is, it's Ryan Reynolds. I honestly think that the three of them, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Shawn Levy, just really like working with each other. And you know what? That is exceedingly fair and valid. There's only one thing that bugged me visually about this movie. It is time to stop trying to make computer-generated people in suits do things. Because it is 2024, we have not yet succeeded in making that shit look good, and at this point, I don't think we ever will. So stop. Like, I'll be the first to admit, I am no expert on the filmmaking process, but there were times when I was like, really? It was easier to CGI that than to just have a stuntman get into the suit? There is a shot that will be used by haters to hate on this movie. Will it be blown out of proportion? Probably. But you know what? Y'all brought this upon yourselves. 2 out of 5. You know, I was gonna open this category with some smart-ass shit about how Ryan Reynolds is just doing his Ryan Reynolds shtick again. But then I found this clip on IMDb of Shawn Levy saying this.
Ryan's performance as Deadpool is, in my eyes, as singular and iconic as Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
And I thought, you know what? He's kind of right. I guess if I was reviewing Deadpool 1, I'd be very complimentary of him. But we are like 8 years into this persona, and while it is easy to take for granted how good it is, it's also so oversaturated by now that the criticism of it being oversaturated is oversaturated. He's like Donald Trump, man. Like, you've already got an opinion on him, especially if you're watching this, you definitely have an opinion on him. He's not gonna surprise you. As a matter of fact, the only member of the principal cast that surprised me was Hugh Jackman, weirdly. I don't know why. I mean, we all know the dude can act. But there were at least 2 scenes where I was like, oh, they got him to try in this. Matthew McFadden, I almost feel a little bad for that dude. Like, between the car commercial and this, he is officially frozen in typecasting Carbonite as Tom Wamsgams. And Emma Corrin, I'm sure she did a really good job, but any nuances of her performance were undercut by the latent anxiety I get whenever I see a telekinetic character in a movie, that somebody's head could just explode at any given moment, which did not end up happening. At least, not from her. 3 out of 5. This is the 3rd Deadpool movie. This is the 10th movie with Wolverine, and that's before we even get into the ads.
Is there any way that I can make it up to you, or?
You could help me promote my new mini Jimmy Bang Bangs with Southwest Chicken.
This movie knows it's a cash cow, and it's even taking shots at itself in terms of how hard it's being milked. I was assaulted by so much ironic self-deprecation in that theater that I turned around and realized, oh god, is this what it's like to watch my videos? If you're looking for a fresh take on these characters, you will not find it here. And I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but being aware of the current box office state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe does not constitute a fresh take on that either. But to be fair, when it comes to these characters at least, I mean, it wasn't broke, so. I will say, the first 20 minutes or so of this movie, where Deadpool's navigating a breakup, palling around with his friends, struggling to find purpose in life, did feel strikingly relatable, in a way that I haven't felt from a Marvel movie before. Which maybe says a little more about me than it does about the movie, but that at least felt like an interesting angle, and it makes me wonder if we're going to start to see more protagonists in blockbuster movies just going through everyday existential struggles, you know, as opposed to being perfect badasses like John Wick or something. I could have done with a little more of that perspective here. Unfortunately, we lose it once they start bouncing around the multiverse again, but it's cool while it lasted. 2 out of 5. So here's, I think, the best compliment I can give this film. I entered the theater in a not-so-good mood, but I left in a good mood. This movie did that for me, and for that, I thank the filmmakers. The audience in my theater did cheer for the Marvel logo at the beginning of the movie, so my showing was perhaps not the most objective barometer of how well it's going to go over, but there were many cheers and many laughs. I think that if you see this looking for a good time, you will have one, especially if you're pushing 40. Because that's who most of the cameos are catered to. That's not even a spoiler. Like, that's just process of elimination. Who still hasn't been seen in the MCU yet? Come on. Think with your brain. 4 out of 5. Here we go. This is it. The final score. I don't know what I'm singing, but I'm singing. That's all that matters. Unlike Hugh Jackman in this movie. A little bit salty about that, not gonna lie. I don't think you can see this, but that's a 3 right there. That's a solid 3. That doesn't actually sound that good for how much I enjoyed this movie, but you know what? This is what happens when you let math rate a movie for you. But anyway, if you've seen this movie, let me know if you dig it. Dig it. And if you enjoyed this review, you know, feel free to like and subscribe and all that stuff that I'm obligated to say at the end of the video. Peace out. Pool heads? What do they call Deadpool fans? There surely must be a name for this. Does anyone else find the Deadpool fan base super annoying? All these results are just about how annoying Deadpool fans are. Alright. Peace out.